Welcome to the Ward Yacht Sales Podcast. Let's get started. Hey folks, welcome to the Ward Yacht Sales channel and our very first podcast episode where we talk about all things related to buying and selling yachts. My name's Ben Ward and I'm the co-owner and founder of Ward Yacht Sales based in the Sunshine State of Florida. This is a time that we're excited about. Our brokerage is relatively new on the scene, but we have an experienced team, and we are looking forward to serving you. So we're going to talk about a number of topics that are seldom talked about here on YouTube or anywhere else for that matter. And we've developed a plan to post a new episode on our channel every other week on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So we hope that you'll tune in and join us. Whether you're currently a boat owner, a yacht broker, a yachting and boating enthusiast, or you want to be one of those, this is the channel for you. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you can get notified anytime new episodes go live on our channel. We really appreciate you taking the time and tuning in. Today, I want to talk about the benefits of working with a yacht broker. Sometimes we get questions or read content online where people ask things like, what is the benefit of engaging a yacht broker? What value does a broker bring to the buying or selling process? And how much do brokers get paid and who pays them? Well, in today's episode, we're going to try to answer those questions, and we're going to look at a yacht deal from the perspectives of a yacht buyer or seller. First off, let's define this somewhat pretentious word, yacht. Yacht is just a fancy word for a boat. In fact, most brokers that I know just refer to them as boats. And, you know, here in the U.S., there's a bit of a stigma because people tend to think of a yacht as a large multi-deck luxury vessel that's reserved for the uber wealthy. And of course, thanks to reality TV, that's, only been a stigma that's reinforced. But the truth is that while luxury yachting is a segment of our clientele, that is not what yachting means to the majority of people who are part of the boating community. People from all walks of life enjoy boating and spending time on the water with their family and friends. So not every boat is a yacht. The two words aren't synonymous. You don't see very many people going around, referring to their 20-foot fishing vessel as a yacht. Because yachts typically not only are of a certain size, but they have certain accommodations. So, typically we're referring to vessels over 30 feet that have some kind of living space. And typically speaking, they're going to cost somewhere north of 100,000 US. Obviously, there are examples that are less expensive than that. And they can range up into the multi-billions or in very rare cases, even billions of dollars. But again, the overwhelming majority of yachts are valued somewhere between about 100,000 and say 250 to 500,000 US. Just to reinforce that point, in the year 2023, the average broker-assisted yacht deal in the state of Florida, the value of those deals was on average $165,000. So with that context out of the way, let's talk about 5 general reasons why working with a yacht broker is beneficial, regardless of whether we're talking about a vessel that's valued at, say, $100,000 or $500,000, and whether you're buying or selling. So number one, a yacht purchase or sale, I think we can all agree, is a financially significant moment for most people. It's a big commitment, and not just in terms of the initial purchase, but in terms of the ongoing storage and maintenance costs, not to mention crew and other costs that are associated with yacht ownership. Secondly, the transaction of buying or selling a yacht is often complex. In fact, yacht deals can often be just as complex, if not more complex, than a real estate transaction. So navigating those steps without the assistance of an expert can lead to costly mistakes and the loss of valuable time or even the loss of a deal. Thirdly, marketing a yacht is harder than most people think. Gathering all of the specs and the inventory for a yacht and getting those details correct, making sure that the boat has been detailed and staged so that it's going to show its very best, gathering professional photos and conducting video tours, validating registration and insurance status on that vessel, listing on professional, oftentimes broker only MLS sites where yacht buyers are going to be shopping, and marketing that vessel to their network, conducting showings. All of these things are very time consuming. And not only are they time consuming, they require very specialized skills and knowledge and experience. So while you might be tempted to think you can save yourself some money by putting a boat up for sale by owner, in our experience, we see that more often than not, the opposite is true, because that boat is going to tend to sit much longer than it should. It's not going to bring the price that it should. And again, the longer that boat is just sitting on the market, the more it's costing you. So it's not a great outcome. Fourthly, navigating negotiations and contracts. There are a lot of steps and negotiations involved when navigating a yacht deal, whether you're buying or selling. And the good news is a yacht broker is going to take care of those steps on your behalf, and they will help guide you through that process from beginning to end and consult and advise you. In short, you're making all the decisions, but you've got the expert who runs point on the negotiations on your behalf. Keep in mind, it typically takes anywhere from 4 to even 6 weeks to close on the sale of a yacht. And that's starting from the time that a purchase agreement is signed to the time that ownership can actually change hands. So it's a material amount of time, and it's a quite complex process. And that can take even longer depending on the size of the vessel and the complexity of the deal. Fifthly, you really want an advocate who is looking out for your interests. Considering the complexity and the size of the investment, regardless of whether you're a buyer or seller, having an expert on your side who understands how to navigate a yacht deal from beginning to end can not only help avoid costly mistakes, but it can actually make the experience an enjoyable one. So those are just several of many reasons why working with a yacht broker is well worth the investment, and how brokers provide their clients with value-added services that save time, hassle, and money. Now, you may be saying to yourself, okay, hold on, Ben, tell me more. What do these valuable services end up costing? And that's a fair question. So it's getting back to the question we mentioned at the very beginning of this segment, which is, what do brokers get paid? And who is paying them? So yacht brokerage firms typically charge a 10% commission in the US on most sales. If a yacht is valued over, say, $1 million, that commission structure may change. It is likely to change. But otherwise, 10% is pretty much the industry standard. Now, who pays that commission? Well, this could be a little bit of a philosophical question, but technically, while the buyer is putting up the funds, they're purchasing the vessel, the commission is actually getting paid out of the seller's proceeds at the time of closing. So whatever the sale price is, the commission will be deducted from those funds when that deal closes, much like in real estate, where buyers typically pay for any closing fees, and then sellers pay the commission. So that's the most common outcome. Now, you may be thinking, wow, 10%, that sounds like a lot. It's more than real estate. That's true. However, it's important to understand several important things about why the commission is typically 10%. First off, we're talking about a very small market relative to, say, real estate. That means fewer clients, much fewer inventory, and fewer people who are serving those clients and have the skills and experience to do that job well. Second, the commission doesn't all go to the broker. It's split between the broker and their employing brokerage. So it's split many ways, actually. First off, the employing brokerage gets a cut because they're paying for most of the marketing, the website, the MLS subscription fees, the insurance, the licensing, accounting, legal fees, on and on and on. It's basically all those pesky things that would otherwise get in the way of the yacht broker or salesperson being able to do their job. Approximately 70% of all deals are co-brokered, and that means that the buyer and the seller are being represented by different brokerage firms. And that means inherently that 10% commission more often than not is going to get split in half between those two brokerage firms, which dramatically reduces the commission for all parties. And what that means is that in the majority of cases, your broker only stands to earn about 2.5% to 3% commission. So hopefully, considering the level of complexity, the investment, the size of the market, and the highly niche skill sets that are needed to be a yacht broker, you can appreciate why the commission is still well worth the cost. And ultimately, they're helping you to negotiate the best price and making sure that deal happens quickly and with as few issues as possible. So next, I'd like to just talk about some of the specific benefits of working with a yacht broker as a seller. So as a seller, some of the key questions that may be on your mind would include things like, well, what is the state of the yacht market today? What are the asking prices out there for similar vessels? What about recent sale prices for vessels of the same year, make, and model? And what's the average spread between the asking and selling price? An experienced listing broker is going to have the knowledge and the tools to help you answer all these questions. And more often than not is going to proactively provide you with a competitive market analysis for your yacht, giving you the information to make informed decisions about where to set the asking price for your yacht in today's market so that it can sell more quickly and be attractive to potential buyers. So a listing broker has access to professional broker-only tools. They're going to publish and market that yacht to the yachting MLS sites where many buyers are going to be shopping, and they're going to post it on their social media pages and out to their network. They may actually even have clients who are actively looking for a vessel just like yours right now, and they can tap into that network to generate the leads and the visibility that are going to hopefully result in a sale much more quickly than you could do on your own. A listing broker can also help really make valuable recommendations, and upgrades are truly necessary as you prepare to list your yacht on the market. They can really help you to avoid spending money on upgrades or repairs that are not going to make any significant difference in the value of your vessel. Now, we've covered sort of the seller's perspective. What if you're looking to purchase a yacht? So let's talk about some of the benefits of working with a yacht broker as a buyer. Many of the same benefits we talked about for sellers are equally applicable to buyers. But one of the most important things to recognize is that when a buyer tries to go it alone, without any broker representation, they are leaving the fate of that deal entirely in the hands of the listing broker. So most brokers, in all fairness, are going to do their level best to represent both parties objectively. But it is hard to ignore, even if it's only perception, that the loyalty of that broker is going to tend to skew toward the sellers because that's who's ultimately paying the commission. So beyond this, engaging with a buyer's broker doesn't cost you any more. In fact, it may actually save you money because you have someone who has worked to understand your requirements and your preferences and was selected by you to advocate for you. So they can help you identify boats and deals you might have missed otherwise. And then when you do identify a boat that's of interest, they can help you gather recent comp data so that you avoid paying too much. And then they will serve as your lead negotiator. So when it comes time, after assuming you've got a signed purchase agreement on that vessel and you're going to do the survey and trial run, you're going to get a report back from that surveyor. And the buyer broker, or the selling broker, as we refer to them, can also help you to then interpret that report and consider the best path forward based on your situation. Also, we refer to the buyer's broker as the selling broker because pretty important point here. Their firm is going to ultimately take charge of the contract and the closing for your deal. And I think that provides some real assurance that your interests are ultimately being looked out for by the people who have been selected by you. So keep in mind, purchasing a yacht also is just the very first step on the overall journey and experience of yacht ownership. And so building a relationship with a broker who is not only going to help you to navigate the deal, but will be available to you after the sale as a resource to help connect you with other experts in their network, whether that be, marine professionals who can help answer questions or provide training, get advice, or even actually perform work on your vessel. Those are benefits that really should not be overlooked. It's a huge advantage. Now, are there any scenarios where working with a yacht broker does not make sense? I would say yes. There are a couple of scenarios where engaging a broker for a full service listing may not make sense. One example could be if the value of the boat that you are looking to purchase and the minimum commission set by a brokerage firm, need the 10% of the expected sale price of that vessel. So, if you're in that scenario, then perhaps, it doesn't make sense. Now, there are some situations, you're willing to sort of pay a premium, as it were, to get that vessel liquidated. But there are instances like that where I would say, whether in part or in whole, a for sale by owner situation might make more sense. But talk to the brokerages, shop around, and talk to different firms and find out what their minimum sales commission would be. Another example might be you are a broker and are very deeply experienced in navigating yacht deals, and you have the expertise and the confidence to do that. So in that case, you may be able to handle all or at least some of that transaction. But I would say even in those instances, you still may want to engage a brokerage firm to leverage a la carte services, things like their escrow service or to get their closing and abstract of title support, things of that nature. So, there are still value-added services, even if you're not going with a full service brokerage approach. That may make sense given your situation. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode of the Ward Yacht Sales Podcast. I hope it's been informative and that the benefits of working with a yacht broker are evident to you. If you've gotten something out of today's episode, please hit the thumbs up button to give this video a like, leave a comment or question. We'd be happy to get back to you. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Finally, if our team can be of service with your next yacht sale or purchase, we are in the business of making yacht ownership dreams come true. And we have a team of professional, licensed, and experienced yacht brokers who would be honored to represent and advocate for you. You can learn more by visiting our website at wardyachtSales.com or to contact us directly at info@wardyachtSales.com. You can also follow us on social media. The links are down below in the description. So thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, stay safe out on the water, and we look forward to helping you fulfill your yacht ownership dreams very soon.